Welcome to Integrated Planning and Control for Sustainable Success. This presentation shows how the financial consequences of a lean management project are disclosed in a Resource Consumption Accounting System RCA. The resulting plan values are the basis for the decision to implement the project and for the subsequent comparison of planned to actual results. The data used for this presentation is taken from the simulation model integrated in our publication Management Control with Integrated Planning. This simulation model shows the design of a decision-relevant management accounting system in detail. It's a fully programmed application requiring only basic Excel operating skills. Any input change immediately updates all calculations and shows the consequences for planned and actual results in the P&L as well as in the internal balance sheet of the next 5 years. A lean production project was started to improve the cost position compared to competitors and to increase EBIT. It aims at lowering the standard time needed to stamp out and form the 2 different base plates for the produced ring books by 30% per unit. To do so, the process steps have to be adjusted and the exact positioning of the steel strips to be processed has to be improved. The project plan says nearly no investments will be necessary. 2 weeks of training the staff in the cost center stamping will be sufficient. The question is, what will be the financial consequences of this project in the coming years? The plan before integrating the lean project is presented with a stepwise contribution accounting, a main element of resource consumption accounting. Without showing the sales, we start directly with the contribution margin 1 after deduction of the planned sales commissions. You see the amount of contribution of the product ranges finished goods and merchandise in light blue. The product range of finished goods is subdivided into 6 product groups. Their contribution margin is shown as well. Planned gross sales minus discounts minus all other planned sales deductions minus the standard proportional cost of each product result in the contribution margin 1 of plan year 2012 of roughly 4.229 million. From these contribution margins, 1, the planned fixed costs are deducted as far as they can be clearly assigned to the 2 product ranges. The direct sales promotion costs are deducted from the subtotal finished goods and merchandise. These costs are not allocated to the single product groups because sales promotion is operated for a product range, not for a single product group. As the sales organization sells both product ranges, we do not allocate the fixed cost of the sales organization to product ranges or even product groups. The remaining sales CM must cover all fixed costs of all other cost centers and the EBIT to be achieved. In this starting situation, the EBIT is 247,375. The simulation model is set up in such a way that the EBIT of contribution accounting always matches that of the P&L account. This excerpt from the work plans of the simulation model shows the standard working times for stamping the base plates. For 2011, these were 0.25 minutes for item 11 and 0.15 for item 12. Here, the same times are planned for the years to come. Please remark that in the whole simulation model, all yellow fields can be changed by the user. Now I enter 70% in the green field, as this is the target of the Lean project. From 2012 to 15, all planned standard times are reduced to 70% in the column standard time per unit. On the right side, you see the consequence. Contribution margin 1 raises in 2012 from 4.229 to roughly 4.32 millions. This is the direct consequence of the lowered standard times. But the planned fixed costs of production rose from 1.244 to 1.343 millions, and the EBIT sank from 247,375 to 239,943. Why that? In the initial plan for 2012, 4 persons are working in cost center stamping. Their normal working capacity is 409,920 minutes. That is 1,708 hours yearly presence time multiplied with the 4 employees and shown in minutes. Based on the original standard times of 0.25 and 0.15 minutes, the planned yearly activity in 2012 is 371,415 minutes. These minutes slip into the base plates. 30,400 minutes are needed for internal tasks like managing the cost center and further education of the employees. The remaining 2,105 minutes are a capacity reserve. The available capacity is thus just enough for the planned production volume. Please remark that with the planned production for the years 2014 and 15, stamping will run into a capacity bottleneck. Now, the cost center manager has to decide, shall he reduce his workforce from 4 to 3 persons at the beginning of 2012, because the activity level of stamping will be lowered by the project. This decision should not be automated in a simulation model, as the responsible manager has to decide and will be responsible for the outcome. If the cost center manager decides to reduce his staff by 1 person, I entered -1 in the lower green field, the personnel cost of stamping will drop by 73,080 in 2012 and in the following years. Parallelly, the lower standard times will reduce the activity level from 371,415 to 260,783 minutes for 2012. Thus, the cost of the unused capacity moves into the fixed personnel costs, and the capacity reserve will rise to 10,258 minutes. This increases the planned fixed personnel cost in 2012 to 40,138. Due to the lower planned activity per unit, he will have a smaller capacity bottleneck in the years 2014 and 15, although his cost center will only have 3 employees. 3 full-time equivalents will be nearly sufficient to produce the planned output in 2014 and 2015. The comparison of the initial plan with the new one shows that the realization of the Lean project will increase EBIT by 66,460. The difference is mainly the consequence of lower proportional costs per unit in cost center stamping. These generate a higher contribution margin of 82,147. Due to the lower standard times, stamping will also consume 44 less electric power. The lower standard times will lead to higher fixed costs for unused capacity. This explains the 15,732 additional fixed costs in stamping. Additionally, Ringbook can strengthen its cost position compared to competition. If others lower their sales prices, the company can follow suit and maintain its market share without immediately incurring losses. The underlying simulation model meets all the requirements of a comprehensive Resource Consumption Accounting System (RCA) as recommended by the Institute of Management Accountants (IMA). RCA differs from the usually installed cost accounting systems because A. It sharply distinguishes between proportional and fixed costs. Proportional costs are directly caused by the product, while fixed costs are the consequence of managerial decisions. In our example, this cost splitting into proportional and fixed has made it possible to clearly distinguish the cost consequences of quantity and activity-related changes, the allowed time to stamp a base plate, from the cost consequences of a management decision. Will the staff of the cost center be reduced by one person? B. All cost elements, whether they are planned or actual, are charged to the cost center where they can be directly influenced. Every cost center manager is responsible for the cost incurred in his own cost center. The consequence is that he denies all allocations of fixed costs from other cost centers. C. If a cost center orders services from other cost centers, only the delivered quantity, valued at proportional standard costs, is charged. No fixed costs of the serving cost centers are allocated. This is because the service recipient only purchases the service, not the capacity of the supplier. The capacity of the supplier is determined by a management decision. And D. Therefore, in a true RCA system, there is no allocation of fixed costs to other cost centers or to products and services. According to our practical experience, RCA is the most decision-relevant management accounting system available, and it works in all industries. Please find more hints for the successful implementation of a comprehensive management control system at these addresses. Thank you for following this presentation. Devise and install your management accounting according to the decision-making needs of your managers.